Okay, picture this. You're in Gotham City, it's dark, it's raining, and steam is rising off the streets. You know the vibe. And up there, on a rooftop, a familiar shadow pulls away from a gargoyle. He's the silent guardian, always watching.
But wait, tonight, there's someone else up there. A much smaller silhouette. Quicker? And are those boots? Yep, definitely boots.
So let's get into this, because this creative idea is just too good. We are going to break down what happens when these two completely different worlds and, very different heroes slam into each other, right in the middle of Gotham.
The whole thing starts with a really simple but kind of brilliant question. What if? What if you took the world's greatest feline adventurer and just dropped him into a super-secret Batman mission? You could already feel the potential for some serious fun and chaos, right? Alright, so for a team-up this wild to even make sense, the setting is absolutely key. So let's talk about the stage for all this, Gotham City itself. You see, Gotham isn't just a place on a map. It's a living, breathing character. It's all about shadows, secrets, and complex plans. I mean, it's the perfect home for Batman. And it's pretty much the absolute last place on Earth you'd expect to find a hero who introduces himself with a flourish and a wink. And that clash, that's what makes this whole idea pop.
So, the stage is set. Now let's bring on our main characters, because the real core of this idea, the part that makes it so great, is the dynamic between these two.
What we're looking at here is a classic storytelling trope. One you've seen a million times because, well, it works. It's the unlikely duo. Think about buddy cop movies or old cartoons. You take two people, or, a man and a cat, who are polar opposites, and their differences are what creates all the energy, all the jokes, and all the action.
And just look at how perfectly this is laid out. On one side, you've got Batman. He's all serious, methodical, using gadgets and intimidation. And on the other, Puss in Boots. He's all charisma and impulse, armed with a really sharp sword and an even sharper sense of humor. One guy literally lives in the shadows. The other guy basically is the spotlight.
And that is the engine that makes this entire story go. It's not just about them teaming up to fight a villain. Nope. It's about Batman's super serious, grim world getting completely flipped upside down by a talking cat who probably thinks the bat signal is a fancy way to ask for a saucer of milk.
Okay, so we have our heroes, we have our city, but what actually gets them in the same room? Well, a secret mission, of course.
I mean, that's the big joke right there, isn't it? Batman's whole deal is stealth, silence, and precision. Puss in Boots, his whole deal involves dramatic entrances, witty banter, and probably a guitar solo. How on earth do you make that work on a secret mission? Well, you can kind of picture how it would go down, right? Batman has this flawless, silent plan. Puss in Boots says, "See, I understand," and then immediately starts a tango with a goon as a diversion. Batman is just horrified, but here's the thing. It works. The mission succeeds not in spite of the absolute chaos, but because of it. The improvisation becomes the new plan. So, their crazy plan actually works. The mission's a success. But that brings us to what this whole thing was really about, the true purpose of this team-up. Sure, the bad guy gets caught, the city is safe. But the real win here isn't about checking another box. The whole point was the journey itself, creating a genuinely fun and totally unforgettable adventure, right in the heart of the darkest city in the world. And this is the moment it was all building towards. This is the climax. It's that moment where Batman's legendary seriousness just breaks. He doesn't just smirk or crack a tiny smile. The man actually laughs out loud. And that's it. That is the true victory of the entire mission. For just one night, the Dark Knight isn't only a symbol of justice or vengeance. He's just a guy watching a cat in little boots completely outsmart a supervillain, and he thinks it's hilarious. In a place like Gotham, making Batman laugh? That might just be the most heroic thing you can do.
It really just goes to show you that sometimes the absolute best stories come from the most bizarre pairings, which kind of makes you think, doesn't it? What's the next great crossover that's just waiting for someone to dream it up?